All right. We don't have anybody at home, apparently, but here, Bill, Stephen, Larry, Frank, Bob, Tom, Timothy, Susan, Jesus is a test, Kathy, Lynn, and Helen, all here. Good group. We had a nice reception. It was a good socializing between the members for a good long while. And then thanks to Susan, who actually sold 2 photos.
Oh, nice.
Thanks to her, the crowd doubled almost within a few minutes. Lynn had family come, but it was a good time. And we continue to have good comments on the photos from outsiders, sort of, church members, for example. Lynn and I were here the evening of a concert in the sanctuary. We had the room open with signs on the door before, don't get there before I do, before the meeting, and then it was open during the intermission as well. And we had, how many, 5 or so that came in? Yeah. They didn't make it to the photos. They were here just for the bathroom. But we're going to count on them as observers anyway.
One of them did look at Zoom photographs, because they were across from the restaurant. So that was
All right. Announcements. Stephen posted some photos of his trip to Ecuador. Larry wowed them loudly. I don't know who else happened to see them, but
I sent them to a few folks who we'd been talking back and forth about pictures. I didn't want to just flood everybody with them. I'm happy to send them to whoever would like to see them. But,
put them on Flickr. Yeah. Put them on Flickr.
I'm sorry, Amazon.
Put them on Flickr.
He uses Amazon.
Yeah, you did yours on Amazon, right?
Yeah. I'll figure out how to put them on Flickr, put them
You
on
can still put them
Flickr.
on Flickr.
yeah.
And I do that through your site, Mike, isn't it?
If you're not, and I don't know if you've ever signed in, but just go to flickr.com and open a free membership. And then they'll ask, when you go to Chatham InFocus, it'll tell you that you need permission. And then that's when I want to.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, or call if you have any trouble doing it. So, but any other announcements? Bill?
I've got nothing.
Well, no, you have something, but maybe not tips and tricks. So, well, we have 24 photos today. One's a carryover from our last meeting, and that means Bob's up first, and then we'll go through the folks that submitted them for today. And with that, we'll get started, if everything works. I can even find, it always does this to me.
So this was a multiple exposure from since I wasn't here last time. And Susan, I'm thinking you know the name of that plant, because this was behind the Farrington House.
Yeah, it's a fringe tree for old man's beard, isn't it? It's a fringe tree, I think, or fringe flower trees. Yeah, and then isn't it like old man's beard?
Yeah, so it's two exposures came together. And
It's a really nice picture, Bob.
thank you.
So are you able to do that in your camera?
Yeah, I did that it's just the setting for 2. And I know some of you guys took, like Bill took 8 or 9 exposures.
10 at a time, yeah.
Yeah,
How many did you do, Bob?
I did 2.
2, okay.
And I was happy just to have something come out.
Well, this is more than just having something come out. One of the things that's good about it, I think, is that the center that's in really sharp focus, and you see where I'm looking, maybe not, but right in there, it's sharp as a tack.
Really sharp.
Good.
Well, there's something that's in the Nikon cameras that may be in some of the other brands as well, that you can actually just go through your day and take pictures. And if you decide you want to take two and make them a multiple exposure, you can go through, it's called a retouch function. And you can choose which two you want to combine. And it gives you the ability to determine which one has a little more presence than the other. So you can make the background a little more prominent, or make the foreground a little more prominent. And then once you get it, and you say, save it, it saves it as JPEG. That was something I never knew was in, I think it's in the D750, I know it's in the 850 and D8s. But yeah, you can, so, and it may be, it was under a function called retouch, so if you go through your menus and see anything called retouch, you might be able to do it.
Right.
Have to try that.
Well, this is a keeper, Bob.
Good.
All right, shifting to the ones for today, and Stephen is up first.
Oh, nice. That's not mine. Whose is that?
Stephen?
Stephen?
Yeah, these are some shots from, oh, thank you. These are some shots from Duke Gardens and in their Japanese garden area, which is kind of up off in one corner. But my favorite part of the place, I think, was as the Japanese themselves do, they managed to get nature and whatever they're building to fit together in a really harmonious kind of way. It's just a pleasant place to be, to me.
It's funny, I've been there, this was at Duke, I don't remember seeing this bridge.
Instead of coming down.
Recording in progress.
Yeah, this is, if you were to come in, there's a place that is kind of their business center there.
Yeah, you go through that door in the back,
Yeah,
instead of going in the main way.
right,
Going
Okay.
that door in the back, there's a whole garden area.
Oh, okay. All right.
yeah. And that's where each of these, I figure I got three of them, but they're all in this same area. But, yeah, it's worth going there if you're up for a visit.
Beautiful.
The
Did
pers-
you do any processing or anything? It's just
Oh, yeah,
gorgeous.
I mean, I
Colors are
always
just
do,
amazing.
yeah. But, pretty much, there's nothing that has changed, because basically, changing the lighting and so forth and that, but,
I like the way it draws your eye.
Yeah.
On the far side.
I think part of that is where the walk starts in the bottom left-hand corner. I think if that had been moved up or right, it wouldn't be the same.
yeah, I think, when I'm shooting something like that, I'll tend to shoot, a bunch of pics, then I can try to look and see what's happening, and then, things that lead me or not. I can't project what it's gonna be, but I can't see it clear.
Good shot, though, Stephen.
Feedback.
It's gone, I think. Yeah, it's gone.
Sorry, this was feeding back to.
All right. Also Stephen.
Nice. I love the reflections.
Lush.
Is that Duke Gardens also?
Yeah, the three of them, they're all from the same part of the Japanese garden, part of the garden, yeah. That over there that you can kind of see is a bridge, actually, it kind of you can walk across the whole pool there.
This one is a little less, I don't know, vibrant, maybe
There's too much stuff in it.
yeah, well, I don't know about that. The color density is not quite the same. I mean, it's,
A lot
I'm
more
s-
sunlight in this one too.
yeah,
Yeah.
More shaded
Right.
and
Yeah.
more
It's
deep
just
with
that
the
the whole
greens
thing's too
and
bright,
browns.
yeah.
yeah, but not by much, in my opinion,
Yeah.
but a really nice shot.
Yeah, nice.
And this is,
Oh, yeah, I like that bridge.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
I come on just another notch on that magnification if you can, there's a nice little part of that to the left, the bridge.
oh, I see, yes,
Nice.
come on.
I love the color of the water, the red.
Uh-huh.
And it's, I don't, I don't understand it, I was talking about, it seems to blend in, but here we got this red bridge, and it seems to, looks like it grew there sort of somehow, and you go, how did they see to do that in advance? I have no idea.
I've got a question for you. How long did you have to wait for the people to stop walking?
Yeah,
So when we were there on a weekday, which I bought for that reason, because I was anticipating you to sit there for half an hour.
What time of day?
In the morning,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we were there more like 10:30, 11 o'clock, and it just,
packed.
and the light is just so
light's too
overwhelming.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really have to get in there early or get in there later.
Do you charge to go to the garden?
No,
You just have to pay.
park.
Parking, yeah.
Okay.
Well, 3 nice shots, Stephen, and not a single bird among them, which is not a bad thing. I mean, it's just,
Beautiful.
Larry is up next.
See, so this is the same bridge.
Oh, interesting.
When you showed that, I went, oh, I know that bridge. And I just took a different angle of it. I wanted to get the shadow.
Yeah.
From
Yep.
the railing on the right-hand side across the bridge. It's just a different angle, same bridge.
It's interesting, you're both shooting the same thing, yeah.
You'll see some of this again.
Like minds.
It's interesting, the different trees in Stephen's shot versus this, there's so much green here that is going toward. Yeah, yeah.
But that, the shadows draws your
Yeah.
light to your eye.
The shadow adds a lot to that.
Yeah.
What would have happened, Larry, if you started the picture at the wood part?
I wanted to
Get the brick in a little bit,
Yeah,
just to give it a different flavor.
Yeah,
the brick against the wood.
Yeah, so it's held, it's held by one place, in the wall.
color's great.
Yeah. Perfect exposure.
Yep. All right, Larry's
Back to
second.
the garden,
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
we went there when the cherry blossoms were out. So you could see, the blossoms and the other trees haven't yet budded. But the bridge is just down in that little valley, and it's really a neat little spot. And no one goes there, I mean, it's just there.
That's the nice thing about that, there's so many little spots here or there to go to, that are unique.
Well, this is really super.
I like the tree in the front where you can see on the ground the shadow of the branches.
Yeah.
Sun was high that day.
It was pretty high, yeah. Yeah, we were enjoying the crowd, but no one just went down there.
Wow.
You'd think someone would cross that little bridge, but nobody did.
Kind of a hidden bridge.
It is.
It is.
Okay, good work, Larry. And this is Helen. Told you I'd see this.
I really like that.
This, of course,
I had
is
no
the
idea.
same old famous bridge at the garden, and I thought I would like to get a little bit different perspective. So I just took an angle on the entrance and got the pond It's unedited. I noticed now that up in the corner, there's something the matter there.
Oh,
Um, just still learning my camera and dealing with the light that day. When we were there, I think that was the day that Frank and Bob and.
You know, we ran into you,
Yeah.
right near this point.
Right, the light was just impossible. I couldn't cope with it, and I was thinking there was something the matter with me, and I ran into the three of them, and they said the same thing, and I was quite happy.
yeah, you should be.
Looks really sharp.
Yeah, this is with the new Sony that I'm trying to learn, and, I find that it is very sharp, and I'm shooting straight. Well, I've gone to just shutter priority, I guess, so I shot that shutter priority and I was supposed to be on auto ISO, I don't know if it was, I keep changing it by mistake. But I could go back and edit that a little bit, I see, but I just sent it in because I
Oh.
like the angle.
Well, and the color's great.
No, this is just awesome. I just love this. You're really, really unbelievable. And I was thinking, why do I like this photograph so much? And it's like, you don't show us the bridge.
Right.
You show us the beginning of the bridge and the water, and so the viewer gets to create the bridge.
Right.
So there's this thing going on between the viewer and you. It's just awesome, beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you. I just kind of love the angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Bridge makes sense.
others do too.
I like the shadows too on the bottom, next to the bridge.
Mm.
Some of their shadows created there.
Cool.
This is frame it for me.
This is, I believe, the version 12. Betty and I went down behind the visitor center at the lake on a day when the lake was steaming back in December or January, I guess. And never having done anything like that, we started trying to take pictures of mist and discovered you can't take pictures of mist. It's impossible. But the pier, this is not a bridge, but I feel it's close enough. The pier washed away in one of the floods recently. We weren't supposed to be back there even, but
Yeah, I was gonna say that the steps go right down underneath the water.
yeah.
Where is that, please?
This is on Jordan Lake behind the visitor center.
I didn't know there was a visitor center.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see this from 64.
Yeah, it's on.
It's over on the right as you're going towards Apex.
And actually, from an image like this, if you took all this out of here, you know, leaving it in the same space,
Yeah.
minimalist,
Right.
don't even need that.
Yeah, you got a number of possibilities in
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
with that shot.
My problem with it was color. First it was sepia, and then I tried black and white, and then it was blue, and then it was purple, and then I sent it to my sister, and she played with it and came back with the noisiest mess you've ever seen with oranges in it, which is perfectly gorgeous. But it's so noisy, you guys wouldn't laugh at it. But
Now, this is a hint of color, and that's perfect because that's the mood of the picture.
And the cloud
Mm,
really sets
yeah.
it.
I really like that, you know, it sort of invites imagination, you know.
What was over those other pylons? Is that,
Was there a
I
dock or
don't,
something there?
it's a pier, and I don't know how far it went out.
So the pier must have been on top of it.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, they told us we couldn't go back there, so we went. And I thought I was never gonna get out of there. Betty is more intrepid when it comes to hiking than I am, but, I was glad to see that, and I don't know if they'll ever rebuild it or not. and I cannot tell you what exposure, but that was taken with my, Canon. That was before I got my Sony.
When was this taken, how long ago was this?
January, I think, a
Ah,
warm day in January, I believe.
Well, like I said, frame it.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's my joke shot. Okay,
Yeah, I've not seen that before.
being a UNC graduate, I'm wondering if someone could explain this behavior to me.
Oh,
I
come
don't
on.
understand Duke students.
Why won't it let me enlarge this?
Yeah, see how far you can bring it
Oh,
up.
upside down on the bridge.
Ah,
See the person's legs?
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know how I happened to catch that.
okay, so.
Oh, my goodness.
You want a handstand on that?
He did it, and I thought, well, darn, I missed it. And he did it again, and I got it.
That's funny.
So, that's not a wonderful shot, I just thought you'd get a kick out of it. Maybe somebody could explain why a Duke student would do that. A UNC student has more
Oh, come on.
sophistication.
don't put this one downhill, and you could, whether you do it long view or closer view, tells a story.
Well, I don't know what the story is.
Yeah, somebody having fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody having fun.
And the shoelaces match the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a picture in the Japanese garden of a woman in a blue leotard standing on her head. That day was weird. I don't know if it was the day when you guys were over there or
An
not, but
upside down day.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
All right,
National Handstand Day.
back to Bob.
Okay, this, I'm calling this a bridge.
I think it is.
This was, I took the picture from the concrete bridge at Bynum,
Mhm.
and it's a little bit blown out a little bit, just, you know, I was a little bit later, not late enough in the day, I should say. So it's pretty bright.
No.
But,
Where was this in relation to the
so,
concrete?
so if you go down to the Bynum Bridge, there's a parking lot.
Yeah, yeah.
If you get onto the bridge, you walk just the beginning of the bridge on your left-hand side
Oh, okay.
is, I don't know what that, if it was a train bridge or a walk, maybe a walking bridge, but it's old and falling apart.
That the train doesn't go on it anymore.
Yeah, I don't think it must have not been a train, but I don't,
Maybe a young youth student.
yeah, I'm not sure what it was, but I thought, that's something different.
That is.
It is. It's gorgeous.
Bridge to nowhere.
Bridge to, oh, yeah, bridge to death if you walk it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and Bob, I don't, if you have it set up right, you can half click the shutter. And if it's pinpointed, you can half click the shutter in a darker area or a lighter area, or maybe try it in both places. And if it was underexposed, the wood on the, whatever it is, would be a little more visible.
right,
But it may have gotten too dark on the outside,
yeah.
but
I think part of my problem though is it was pretty bright out.
Yeah.
I should have come earlier, maybe.
Did you try in the processing, adjusting the highlights and?
I
shadows?
did,
Okay.
I did, and it,
Sometimes that will bring it in.
yep,
yeah, I tried.
yeah.
That's why I like with Mike's suggestion there, if you had kind of focus on maybe a lighter spot like this would have been underexposed a little more, and this would have been more, your matrix metering would have
Yeah,
kind of
maybe,
accounted for it.
yeah.
And sure.
Okay,
All right.
and this is the same bridge from,
Oh, yeah.
so if you walk all the way across the bridge, I didn't know there was an access, you can walk down to underneath, I didn't know that. But,
No,
just thought I'd get a shot from underneath.
It's a different perspective. Which
Yeah.
which I like. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and there's not, I don't think there's an overexposed one in this one. This one's
This is perfect.
spot on,
yeah,
I think.
it just was a different way to look at the bridge.
Well, somebody else found their way down there apparently.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff.
When you can see-
I shot that at F-18, ISO 800.
You can see how high the water is at times anyway,
Yeah,
dark area.
yeah, we are.
Can you see this bridge from 15501
Yeah.
when you're crossing it?
Yes,
And so is this the one where the entire center of the bridge is covered with debris?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can anybody explain why that's not a bad thing?
well, it's not used anymore.
Oh, it's not?
Yeah, it's a vision.
Yeah.
It's just a walking.
Now, is anybody here on a regular basis, or say in a case like with Bob's other picture? I always use matrix metering. So you have the option of center metering, you have spot metering, you have micro spot metering. Does anybody here use any of those others?
I generally use either spot,
Yeah, me too.
you know, because with black and white, I generally am metering for the black, the darkest part of the subject. You know, if I'm shooting my portraits, I meter for the black background. So I use the spot.
Nice spot.
Why were you asking? Bill? Is there something to
Well-
explain to us?
I'm just wondering if, like in a case like with Bob's, you know, if we had done something by using weighted center metering or a spot, would have we possibly exposed more properly than using matrix? Because matrix metering is taking an average of your whole scene, your darkest and your lights are lights, and it's coming up with an average. But with a spot metering or center weighted metering, it's taking a smaller area to work with.
And Stephen, with birds in motion, what do you use?
I would use matrix. I think if they would sit still long enough, I might play with other things.
Yeah,
You take it a gamble, you know, you're saying, what's my most likely kind of thing to do? And for me, I get a higher percentage of things shooting matrix. Than if I go-
Yep.
If I'm shooting flowers, maybe we'll do, you know.
Yeah,
shoot
exactly.
things around.
Yeah, well, you gotta
But
get
if
the
they sit there
shot,
and
make
for
that-
birds, you know, you got a second to
Yep.
get on.
And if you're shooting birds in bright sky, you know, to maybe do a little exposure compensation before you even start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty, that part of my thing is pretty active.
Yeah.
Well, good comments.
Even on this,
Yeah.
Tom is next. Another wow. Come on. Why will this not?
So I guess we kind of like that. I was thinking, bridge, you know, all the usual suspects, and then I realized, well, shoot, they're building a bridge right down the corner of our house. So, unfortunately, for the, I think, fourth time in the time that we've lived where we live, they're replacing the bridge.
Is this on Old Graham?
Yeah,
Yeah, oh, that's why it's closed.
yeah,
Old Graham Road, it's blocked off, like if you
yeah, you
try
can't.
and.
This is why.
So, anyway, I think, a week ago Friday, Alice and I drove down, checked it all out. And, this is coming out, all of this is gonna be coming out. It's too bad, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're removing this?
Yeah, they'll remove, I think they'll probably go with the big concrete stuff.
Oh, okay.
But, so I went through and I selected out the timbers for emphasis, and then, I like to buy symmetry, so I guess that's pretty obvious.
They're really interesting pictures.
It almost looks like a toy.
Kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look like a toy, yeah, I agree.
I thought this was another one of your mergers, Tom.
No. Anyway, you know, I try to figure out what to do with the background, and I'm just, you know, like I want to do pushing buttons, and this one happened. And,
Well, it wouldn't be the same picture if the background was lighter.
yeah, right. And-
So the background was, that was the background.
Yeah,
You didn't change it.
yeah, right, it's straightforward, I just,
And the digging machine was right there,
pardon?
the digging machine was there.
Yeah. Oh, there were, you know, 6 or 8 of them behind me. I took pictures, you know, lots and lots of pictures of machinery, which I like to do, and as you see, the next one is incidentally, this was, 1/8 at a 60th, ISO 250 on my phone.
On your phone.
On my phone, yeah.
What kind of phone?
A Sony, what do they call that thing? Apple.
SE?
Apple SE, the cheapest one they make.
Really?
It's cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
that looks like a bridge.
Yeah, so this is the other one, I was thinking, oh, look, a bridge.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, and I really like the photograph, I like the feeling of it, it's ominous and
Wait a second.
overpowering,
It's one of those,
The tracks, it's a caterpillar.
and, yeah,
I like that, it's so perfectly centered.
Yeah.
yeah,
and I like that it's, you know, man-made metal with dirt in it.
yeah.
The
That is
digging
nice.
machine, so you shot under the track, between the tracks.
Oh,
I'm sorry?
I was just trying to
Trying to figure
understand
out what
it.
it is. Did you do a panorama on your phone?
No,
Just
no,
cropped it.
no, I just cropped it down to this,
Okay.
yeah, again with my phone, same location.
So the bridge is the axle.
Yes,
The phone did a great job on that.
I love that.
Yeah,
I
it
know.
really is
The
great.
texture inside, it's got with the metal and
Tread,
and the dirt.
the new, you know, the caterpillar,
Uh-huh.
and then there's the axle, cut off the top of it.
Yeah, it's just-
Like a tank on those tracks,
Yeah.
that's what it.
So like the one on the other end is that giant machine in
Yeah.
the back, this is its wheels, or its tracks.
Yeah. Tom, I'm just glad you're thin enough that you fit underneath it as it passed over.
good,
It's thin, it's hard.
but no, seriously, I could have gotten underneath there and taken some interesting photographs of the underneath part of the
Someone's moving.
video, yeah.
How'd you get on a construction site without them chasing you off?
Nothing, there was nothing to stop me, it's right in the middle of the road, I mean,
Yeah.
there may have been a piece of tape or something, but I
Do not enter.
Holding up the do not enter sign.
well, no, I mean, I don't think anybody.
Yeah. Well, you didn't disappoint, Tom.
Never does.
That is great.
This is Kathy.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
For a minute there, I thought I'd sent the wrong, when you saw Bob's first one,
Mhm.
I thought, wait, I didn't send that. That's the same bridge. The
Oh,
same
is it
shot,
really? Looking
Yeah,
at the shadows?
it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
I had the same shot, but I'm
Yeah.
moving around, playing with stuff, I'm like, none of this looks good, so for me, anyway, that's what I ended up with was the shadow of the
Same bridge,
bridge.
You got
Yeah,
the slots,
same thing.
those are the shadows.
Absolutely. So anyway, curious about what people think about the composition.
I like it. I like the shadows, the angles.
And you shot it in the high point of the day, right, like noon
I think it was right, I think it was early or mid-afternoon, if I
Yeah.
remember right.
So that's great, because the shadows are so sharp
Yeah.
because of it.
Yeah. There was a woman down there with the biggest telephoto lens I've ever seen. It's like as big as my arm.
Shooting birds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy, I'm sorry to interrupt, but speaking of lenses, when I took the picture of the Vinyl Bridge on top, it was a guy doing bird shots, and I said, how big is your lens? And he said, it was a 600 millimeter lens.
Okay.
Huge,
Yeah,
huge.
I wouldn't really hold it up. You see, Mike is playing around with the cropping. I fooled around with this thing forever and changed color saturation with the larger photo, that's the source for this. But I was like, should I take out some of that stuff on the edges and da-da-da, but anyway, I'm just interested in people's reaction to the composition.
The only thing, I know that you're right, I was playing with it, but the little, at the right top, that would be the only thing I would crop out, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But just that. Okay, talking about the 600 millimeter lens, Farrington Village had a founding day, I don't know, what did they call it?
Founders,
Yeah, okay. And we think we know who this person is, but not our group. But he was walking around taking photos of one thing or another, and he was carrying two cameras, one with undoubtedly a 600 millimeter lens. And I wasn't going to mention any names.
That's what I think it was.
And when I was watching him, the only photo he took was with his phone.
Yeah.
I was
Sorry,
down at Chatham Bridge, I don't know, Friday maybe, and I noticed all of those people down there with all of those 600 millimeter lenses. Normally when you meet somebody, they look at your eyes and then they might look somewhere else. Every one of them looked first at your camera to see what camera and lens you had, and then looked at you in your eyes. It tickled me.
Yeah.
I thought,
Well,
these
well-
people are lens snobs.
Right.
All right.
I like that picture though.
And this one is terrific,
Yeah.
I think.
That's great.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
The clouds are there.
Yeah, no, that's, again, another neat perspective on this.
Yeah.
You found the bridge.
You found
Yeah.
it?
If there hadn't been water in that, if I was gonna go back, I don't know, I told Susan I'd worn boots and gotten even lower,
Yeah.
but there was water in there.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, same thing, just curious about what y'all think.
That's great. It's a great
Yeah.
perspective.
And again, I like the exposure because the hole at the other end, you can see out there. It's not,
Yeah.
it's nice and clear.
You know, this is probably just me, but when I see things like that, they beg for symmetry,
Yeah.
bi-symmetry, and it's just off just a little bit.
That's interesting because I actually went into Elements, Photoshop Elements is what I'm using, and I was able to tweak it somewhat, but when I tried to, because the original is just a little bit steeper on the left, so I wanted to level it out. I didn't care for symmetry, but I wanted to have that sense of a straight line through.
Yeah,
And when I tried to move it even more, to lower the left even more, it flipped it started flipping the photo. So I don't know how you do that, but I know exactly what you're talking about, and I was able to change it to a degree.
What camera did you
That's
use?
my iPhone.
iPhone, okay.
Oh.
Nice.
There is
The camera's still sitting there, and every time I walk by, I'm like,
Did you get one? I remember we were.
I did, and I
It's a work in
was-
progress.
It's like, I thought, oh, I'll just look at some YouTube clips and, read the owner's manual, which is 350 pages long. And so
Which one did you wind up getting?
I got a D300S. So anyway,
YouTube. Nice.
I'm still going around using my phone. But anyway,
Well, this is a keeper for sure.
That's a nice picture. That's a nice picture.
Yeah, I like it.
Bird in the sky.
Susan is up.
Oh,
Ooh. So I was down at Atlantic Beach and had gotten a ride from my friends. I didn't have my car, so I thought, I need to figure out how to take a shot of the bridge. So I was sitting in the back seat of their car, And I just started, taking pictures whenever we were driving anywhere and hoping I would get a bridge. So this is the bridge between, Morehead City and Atlantic Beach. And I'm sitting in the back seat.
I'm glad you weren't driving.
Yeah.
What was your focal for? Where did you shoot that?
Huh?
What did you, or you just shot it and hope?
Well, I had my, camera, I had my, Canon PowerShot GX7 Mark II, and I had it at f8. And I was just kind of shooting lots of shots as we were going across the bridge. And so this is the bridge.
I guess the
I love the
question
way
he
it's
probably
framed
was
by the
asking is, how did you
Yeah.
get the car in focus and the rest of it in focus?
I think
Because
it
it
was.
is pretty
I
focused
know,
halfway
it was
through.
kind of amazing. I mean, it was at f8, okay, so it did shoot at, I had it on aperture priority, and it shot at 1/320th of a second. ISO 800, 13.46.
And what was the f-stop?
F8. And I don't know, it just,
Hyperfocal distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
From like,
about 2/3 into the,
that's all you have to do.
2/3 of it
There's
away.
texture there.
And the dashboard kind of serves as a different bridge, going the opposite.
Yeah, and I had different pictures where you didn't have as much of the car, but I kind of liked having the car, and then also you can't really see it, but on the mirror, on the Subarus, not on mine, it actually shows southwest. There's a little red thing that says southwest,
So you got your direction.
yeah.
But yeah, I like the cars and the lanes, have to give you nice leading lines and,
I like it like that.
Yeah, this is not a bad crop right here.
no.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the hyper focus distance, like as Bill mentioned, if you look at this whole frame, what is really in sharp is about 2/3 in. And what length of lens?
It just was, it's a point and shoot,
It's a
it's
point and shoot.
13.46 millimeters.
Okay.
It's point and shoot.
The the longer the lens, the shorter the focal depth of field. And so a smaller 35 millimeter, you're going to have more distance of depth of field at any given f-stop. And I don't know whether that factored into this or not, but it's definitely,
It's with the G7X2, 7X2, it's usually a very wide aperture. You know, the millimeter probably sometimes 8 millimeter at the short end, and as you zoom out, it'll get up to maybe about 70. So it tends to be a very good depth of field if you're shooting at the narrow end or the wide end.
Yeah.
That's why there's so much in focus.
all right.
This, I have to explain this, there's two pictures, this is the first one. So, okay, theme is bridges, right? So I went walking down the beach, I took a walk almost every day, I really like to walk along the beach, and all of a sudden, I saw this woman with her son, and they were like making this castle thing.
It's a fish.
And a couple days later, or a day later, I walked down again and saw that they had made this incredibly elaborate creation. And actually, I shot this with my iPhone. I tried to take the same shot with my camera, and just for whatever reason, maybe you can explain it, I could not get as good a shot with my camera as I could get with my iPhone. So this is part one, and this is the whole thing. And part two is a
Oh, look at the
bridge.
bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and this also was with the iPhone. Again, I don't know, for some reason, I don't exactly understand why sometimes shots with iPhones are better than with cameras, because I guess I don't know how to adjust the camera, but I kind of like these better with my iPhone.
You know what would be interesting is to take the shot with your phone and look at the settings that the phone put it
Yeah.
on. Put those same settings on the camera.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Well, actually, I did look at the settings, and this is what's interesting, on the iPhone, it's an f1.8.
So you can't do that.
The shutter speed is 4,673 seconds, ISO 25 and 4.25 millimeters.
The 4.25 millimeters, there's your,
That's the difference?
that's what's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have such, it's just like what Mike was saying, if you're shooting something with a telephoto lens, when you're shooting further out, there's a thing called compression or less depth of field. But as you come back from, say, 400 to 100 to 50, your depth of field just starts to grow automatically. Like our lenses on a full frame, say at 24 millimeter, that's really wide. You get a lot of depth of field.
Yeah.
And you're saying 4.75?
Yeah.
That's why you can't miss focus with the camera, everything's in focus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Especially when there's a lot of light like that.
Well, and it's not only in focus, but it's in sharp focus. You can, up close, you can see the designs on the, whoops.
Oh, yeah.
The iPhone's an incredible camera.
Yeah.
It really is. I have a friend who works for the dreaded San Francisco Giants. And he shoots everything for them with an iPhone.
Yeah, is that right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Why are we all hearing our hands?
Publicity photos and he shoots
Let's hear it for the sculptor. Look at that thing, that's awesome. And look at how it has little, what do they call them? It's got the ties, you know, whatchamacallit, on the side of the bridge there, they put all those little sticks in there like that.
Yeah, the sand going across?
Come on, let's hear it for that guy.
Yeah.
I know, it was
It's
just.
like rebar.
Yeah.
It was little sticks, because when I came back, I think the next day, the stand started to get off of it and stuff like that, so there's little sticks on the
Probably
bottom.
brought the heavy machinery from Tom's picture.
Amazing, that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, good story, good shots. Bill is up.
This was thin pickings. Yeah, this was thin pickings out at the Outer Banks. Last week we're out at Duck. This is up in Crawley near the lighthouse. And there wasn't really much to shoot up there, so I just was walking around this one area. It's near the whale house, which is this huge house up there that is now open for tours and things like that. And it was in the middle of a bright day. But what I liked about this was that the trees, there was a lot of texture on the bridge. And what I did is I actually went inside a gazebo to kind of frame it.
Yeah.
Just
That makes a
another
picture.
layer, just to try to make it look like I actually tried.
The frame is really great. That's
Yeah.
Again, it was really a pretty bright burnout kind of day. There were some signs that I took out, and there was a picnic table there as well that I took out. But,
Is that a swimming pool back there? What, is that a swimming pool?
it's just a little pond
Oh,
that's a man-made pond out there.
But-
It's a pretty big park, and just off to the right, there's a bunch of guys in trucks, and they're putting up those temporary, like pavilions like they had over at the Roost, over at the Goat. It's amazing how they how quickly and how good they are at putting those things up.
Mm-hmm.
And to think that they're only gonna be up for a few days and take them away again. But, yeah,
There may be a challenge with this one, based on this one, that through something else.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, you see,
Yeah,
again,
that's a good idea.
I'm lazy.
I
Hey,
like
Bill,
that
hey,
shot a
Bill,
lot.
on that, if you had, what, it bothers me to get that little bit of meaningless light up there in the upper left-hand corner.
Mhm.
And if you had used the perspective correction tool, you could have pulled that up and gotten rid of that. And, also, you could have, if you pulled the, use correction perspective in the lower left, you could have, made that, parallel to the
Yeah.
frame.
Well, the verticals are flat. I mean,
Right, but
per-
you can do those lifts without moving the verticals,
Mhm.
using the perspective correction tool.
One of the things, I think the framing makes the picture here.
No.
I guess one of the things I do, I haven't heard people mention, I find it very useful, is I'll frequently frame whatever I'm shooting, you can put a little dark.
overhanging trees and,
And it makes the center part, it just makes it visually better frequently, I think. Here kind of dramatically so, because, it shows to do the frame, exactly the reason it makes a much better picture. But even if you're not aware of the framing, if there's a little bit of darkness around the perimeter, it frequently seems to me to make the picture itself stand out.
I had taken probably about 50 different images from all different sides of this. What I actually did at one point, I actually crawled underneath some of these, just taking pictures of the way it's braced up. I mean, and then when I went to that pavilion and I looked at it,
Yeah,
yeah, it ended up that's,
no, it's nice to have that nice natural frame there.
It's a sharp picture.
yeah.
And the color of the sky being so delicate.
And that tree is awesome.
and that was at, I was shooting at f11, 64 ISO. And I just let the shutter speed go where it was gonna go, because it was never gonna be an issue.
All right.
Yeah,
And then this next one requires some explanation.
this is what I call bridging the generations.
oh,
We use the word bridge.
Yeah.
Over here, we have the young family. This is in Cuenca, Ecuador. I went down there on Wednesday. Then you have what they call the pensioners over here, the retired guys who love to get dressed up just to sit out and talk with each other. You have the indigenous Ecuadorian woman here, the indigenous, and here's the guy still working. So you have kind of like
Different
these
stages.
different generations that,
See, I think this guy's, is that his phone in his
At first I thought he
hand?
was talking on a phone.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I think the thing in his left hand may be I'm thinking he's picking his teeth.
Yeah, so
His dentures.
maybe he was just enough.
yeah, and actually, the indigenous woman wasn't there. It was,
You added her?
it was actually some tourists standing there, which just totally blew the whole idea of being in the park in Ecuador, so I found her on one of my other images, and I just copied it and plopped it over.
Can't believe any photographs anymore. Well, was the guy there?
Everything else was there, yeah,
Except for her.
just the indigenous person.
Yeah, but it looks like the two guys on the bench look like they're looking right at her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be
Probably
flirting with her.
Looking at-
Good place.
Yeah.
Yeah, one,
I could have made her taller too, yeah, we could have made a sci-fi movie out of it.
That thing is
you
so
did a great job
sharp.
putting her in there.
That
Yeah.
picture is so incredibly sharp.
The indigenous people do not like to be photographed.
Yeah, so,
Neither do Amish people.
No.
Sure.
Yeah.
and this was with a Canon G15 point and shoot, the advanced point and shoot. Because this was back in 2013, I think it was.
Oh.
That was before I had gotten any DSLRs or any, this was the beginning of my journey.
But it's just so incredibly sharp though. How many pixels did the thing have?
That one had 12, I think.
Wow.
12 megapixel.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really good. Nice
And again,
sharp.
it's just like with Susan's picture, it's just the lens that's in it it's probably something around 10 millimeter, 8 millimeter, something like that, so that's why everything, you get such a sharpness. But it becomes a little more difficult if you wanna be creative. If you wanna have the background blow out on you.
All right,
That's my story, and I'm sticking
That's,
with it.
you gonna stay with it?
yep. Frank's next.
I did some research and I found there's a covered bridge down in Sanford. It's called the Old Gilliam Park Covered Bridge. So I was gonna go down with Bob, but he couldn't make it, so I drove down there. And it's a nice covered bridge, it's red, and it's got multicolors on each side. So I took all different angles of it, but I like this one looking
Yes.
down. I wanted something to kind of draw your eye down to the end. And I like the way all of the wood structures were all lined up and then, kind of drawing your eye down to that end.
Well, this is another one of through something.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
Good picture.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I said, I took all the other ones, but when I put them up on the screen when I got home, I said this one. And the only thing I did to it was, I did a little cropping to get it centered, going down there. And then I just kind of lightened up the inside a little bit. And then the problem was, it was such a sunny day that at the very end, that door was a bit blown out, so I kind of like just brushed in by lowering the highlights in there and exposure, and brought that back down. But, so this was, let's see, where did I shoot it? This was 1/320th of a second, 28 millimeter. It was an ISO 320 and f.35, and it was shutter priority.
Great shot.
yeah.
Also, like halfway through, on the right, you see green there also.
Yeah, on the side windows,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that adds.
I was gonna try going down to the other side and shooting back, but, they're reconstructing or refurbishing this bridge, so the workers were all down at the other end, and I didn't wanna bother them by going down there.
How many pictures are ruined by people?
He would have found an eyeball.
And put it at the end, yeah.
He would have put it at the
Well,
very end.
I was thinking that, it's like, when you draw
Yes,
the image, your eye down there,
Or
what's there to see?
Bring your
Could be-
eyes to the eye.
It could be like a horror movie, and there's a giant
Looking in.
looking in the bridge, trying to catch you, and you see his eye.
And then make it into a video.
Okay, moving right along.
Okay, this I did, oh yeah, the other one I did last weekend. This one I did yesterday. I had purchased one of those snow globes down at the Goat in the village, and I had it sitting on my kitchen table, and I was kind of toying around with, what do I do? So I got out my macro lens, and I put it with a dark background, but I had a light shining down on top of it. And so, I was gonna shake it, but I said, no, I didn't want to interfere with the picture with that. And what I did to it was, okay, this was taken with my 90 millimeter macro. It was 1/10 of a second, so obviously I put it on a tripod. It was f/16, ISO 6400, and it was AP priority. So to process it a little further, I did a little taking the noise out because there was in there. And even though it doesn't show up here, there were these spots throughout it. I tried cleaning the glass and everything, but I couldn't get rid of it. So to limit it, I took the shadows way down. So that kind of hid those as they are in the back there where the black is. And again, all I did was do a little cropping because I didn't want anything showing on the sides. And then brought the shadows down to darken those spots, and that was about it. And just maybe increase the saturation a little bit.
So explain again, what's the green stuff and the orange?
The green stuff is supposed to be grass or trees, and that little bridge is going over.
But what is it really? It's a snow globe. It's a
Snow globe. I was shooting into a snow globe.
Oh, snow globe.
That the white spots are probably on the inside. That's why you couldn't clean them off.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, because I tried cleaning the outside, and it just, I limited it a little bit, or brought it down a little bit, but it wouldn't get rid of them. And the only other thing is I sharpened it a bit because it was tough through that glass.
But I mean, those are cherry trees, those could be cherry leaves,
Yeah.
blossom leaves
cherry,
falling down.
So when you shake it, all that pink in the back are the leaves after they've
Yeah.
fallen down to the bottom.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
it's cool that the spots are there.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't bother me that much, having them there. It would've been nice to get rid of them. I tried cloning a little bit, but,
No,
you can only do so much.
I
Yeah,
like it.
creative.
It'd be interesting to see what the snow globe looks like from a distance.
It's only like this big. It's small. If you go down to the Go, they sell them down there.
Oh, they do?
Yeah,
About the size of a baseball.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably plastic, not glass that's around it, so it'd be harder to clean.
Yeah, it felt like glass, but it could be some of the plastics nowadays, it's hard to tell.
Well, as I said, Frank,
That's a great job.
creative.
Very creative.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very creative.
But it took, I needed the macro to do that, to get in that close.
Yeah.
That's great.
all right. The last two are Lynn's.
So this is, I took it to follow, this is in Belgrade, Serbia. We went up on the ship at night, it was moored at the dock, and had a tripod, so this is F-13, 24 millimeters, 1.3 seconds, and the ISO is 10,000.
Wow. So say that again, say all that again.
Can we go through it again?
Yeah.
F-13,
Okay.
24 millimeter, 1.3 seconds, and the ISO was 10,000.
10,000.
Gosh.
So I take it you had to denoise it a little bit?
I don't know that I did.
Oh, okay.
Colors in it, the way,
I thought I just light up the bridge at night.
geez.
There's a little bit of noise in there, but you have to get awfully close to see it.
Thanks for doing that, Mike.
I thought that was supportive. It doesn't have any noise.
See my dirt on my lens.
Gosh, there are pictures within a picture in that.
Yeah.
Oh, the reflection, I could go crazy with the reflection, because I love to play with the reflection. Oh, I mean, over to the left, to me, just the boat, well, I guess it was bridges, but still the boats, the tug.
Boats, yeah.
Yeah, then there's a picture there, this,
Wonder if you could do one just of the water. Is that what you were thinking, Helen?
I just love to play with the water
And then put the
reflections.
boats in there too.
Yeah, that's a cool picture. Huh. Oh.
No one's seen this before. I took this yesterday. So F 1.8, no, excuse me, wrong picture. F8, 17.1 millimeters, ISO 1600, 1/500th of a second. So that,
Nice picture.
my wide
Yeah.
angle lens.
Yeah, the frame, again, you framed as we were talking with the lead.
Yeah. I think it's funny, when I was down there last week or the week before, and I took the exact same,
Oh, did
the
you?
same shot, yeah.
Standing under the tree.
Yep.
I like the reflections of the bridge in the water.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to get some of the waterfall, quote
Yeah.
unquote, waterfall, and,
Did you take, it was after the rain, because when I did it, that water wasn't as high.
oh, no, it had been
Yeah.
raining.
No, that's right, we did have a lot of rain the other day.
Why was the ISO so high?
Pardon?
The ISO?
Why did ISO end up so high?
Well, it was a cloudy
Uh,
day, there was nothing, look at the sky, it's
Yeah.
just gray. There was no blue to be seen.
I'm trying to figure out ISO, so I'm asking questions about that, because my new camera does strange things.
Well, it's just on automatic, so. Anyway,
All right, incredible group of photos.
Yeah.
I hope we got a full recording, because I'll be disappointed if we don't have this one on YouTube. So any concluding comments?
what's next time? Spring?
The next challenge is spring. Spring is sprung.
Uh-oh, I'm thinking already, he's gonna find an old mattress someplace where the springs are popped out.
Yeah.
Probably back to the Chatham Mills.
Yeah.
That's right.
Do cicadas count? I know, yeah, I think there's gonna be lots of pictures of cicadas.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
gonna take
that's
some too.
so fun. I love
When are
it.
they gonna really start?
Taking apart,
So this is,
fall to the ground. My dog continues,
4 to 6 weeks.
you know, the shells, the
The
shells
shells
are
are
like,
big.
Kentucky, Cincinnati, and they had this one big group come out one time.
I can't stop, I mean, I normally
hear
don't put her on a
go
leash,
through your
but I
house
have to
with
keep
your
her on a
windows
leash when I
closed.
take
Oh, I
her
can
outside.
I got all woods.
They say it's high,
Yeah.
for the dogs to eat them.
Yeah, but yeah, as long as,
But
you know,
we had
they
a
don't
house that-
OD on them, and my
we
dog's
had
one of
plenty